Under Elon Musk's control, Twitter first laid off thousands of employees, and now it is experiencing the great resignation from the other side. More and more people, including celebrities, are leaving the social media platform in response to the changes Musk is leading at Twitter. Among artists who have said goodbye to Twitter are singer Elton John, actors Jim Carrey and Whoopi Goldberg, supermodel Gigi Hadid, and White Stripes musician Jack White. Meanwhile, two members of Twitter's Trust and Safety Council have resigned on Thursday in protest against Elon Musk's safety messages to date. Irliani Abdul Rahman and Anne Collier have been members of Twitter's Trust and Safety Council since its inception in 2016. Irliani was the first female representative from Asia and had served on the council's Child Sexual Exploitation Prevention Advisory Group. She now joins us live from Boston. Thank you very much for being with us, Irliani.
Thank you for having me, Ariel. Really good to be on the show.
So can you first tell us about the council and what its role is?
Yes, well, here's the first. The council was established back in 2016 to foster healthy conversations on Twitter's platform. And so it was 100 members at the time, and there's 5 advisory groups, and as you mentioned, I was in the child sexual abuse prevention one. There's also others: online safety, harassment, human digital rights, also suicide prevention, mental health, and content governance. So 100. But now with my resignations that you mentioned, Anne Collier and Leslie Podesta on Thursday, and then one organization at the beginning when Musk took over, there's fewer than 100 of us now.
And why did you originally join the council? What was your motivation? I understand it's voluntary, but then also appointed by Twitter, right?
Yes, correct. We were actually invited by Twitter. So for me, it was really to foster that kind of healthy conversation online. And I really believed in that. So at the time, I was then working for the Nobel Peace Laureate Kaila Satyarthi in India. And Twitter had noticed a campaign that I had led that had gone viral called Full Stop Against Child Sexual Abuse. Twitter noticed it and asked me to join. And that was back in February 2016.
Now, why have you decided to resign now? We all know the state of things at Twitter. There is an increase in hate speech, anti-Semitic discourse, anti-Black, anti-gay, and I'm sure you can share even more data with us. But couldn't your resignation actually have the opposite effect of what you want to achieve? You and your colleagues are safeguarding the platform, so who will do it now?
Indeed, Ariel. I looked and waited for at least a month. Even before that, while the negotiations over the purchase was taking place, I wrote down some commitments to myself. And were Elon Musk to go over those red lines, I told myself I would resign. And cross the red lines, he did. So for me, it was the hate speech that you mentioned correctly. So in the first after the takeover, the average number of tweets per day against Black Americans went up by 202%, and then the corresponding figure against gay men went up by 58%. And in the first 2 weeks since Musk took over, anti-Semitic posts, that means referencing Jews and Judaism, it went up by 61%, and I found it highly unacceptable. The second red line was when Musk reinstated previously banned tweets. And so that for me was another reason to step down. I waited a month, and then it took me several weeks to try and see whether I could galvanize from within the council. And to your question about what this means now with the resignations, and Leslie and I were really hoping that with the resignations that we could galvanize a conversation within the council and also within Twitter to try and change things with regard to how content moderation is now taking place. I see that it's really very much on the fly. Elon Musk is conducting polls on Twitter and then changing things as they go. Previously, the council was always consulted before the rollout of new products. That has not happened now.
Did you try to work with this new management? When instances like that happen, did you try to, knock on their door, on their email box in meetings and say, look, there's a reason why we've been doing things in a certain way since 2016. Let's not throw this away?
There's no outreach since Musk took over, sad to say, and we have been talking within the council previous to my resignation, and this is not the way to go. Content moderation is a nuanced business. It needs to be contextualized, and so it's actually very much evidence-based, research-based. It cannot be done, as I mentioned before, on the fly. And so I think what Musk is doing is really harming the platform. As a doctoral student in public health here at Harvard University, I take this really seriously because it's not the same as taking his previous models at Tesla or SpaceX to this platform. It's really to foster conversations. And so when you foster conversations, you're talking about mental health and people's well-being, and that's not happening right now. People's safety is being compromised here. And for that reason, I cannot, in full conscience, remain on the council.
So to take us a step further, when you mean people's safety, what could such behavior lead to in the worst case scenario, or according to your research, in most cases?
You've seen already what happened with Nancy Pelosi when there was a spin-off in terms of physical activity that took off offline. That's the worst case scenario, and I'm hoping that was just an outlier, and it should remain that way. So I'm really hoping that that these resignations will galvanize conversation from within Twitter, and Musk will take action. But yesterday, on Friday, there was this conversations online where I will quote here Mike Sonovich, in reference to my and Leslie Ann's resignations. He said, "You all belong in jail." This is on Twitter. And he tagged Elon Musk. And Elon Musk, in reply to Sonovich, said, "It is a crime that they refuse to take action on child exploitation for years." And in they, when he said they, it wasn't clear what he meant, whether it was Twitter or Twitter's council. And that's just been vitriolic ever since on Twitter and the feed. And this is not the way leadership is done. I question, again, the safety aspect. And this is just not right.
How concerned are you about the future of Twitter? It is the town square, the modern town square. It's owned by this one very, very wealthy individual. We're seeing what he's doing with the platform. How concerned are you, not just for the sake of the council, but also for the sake of all of us who use it?
I'm very concerned. There is no equivalent to Twitter. And for me, it was a very, very difficult decision to make. I waited a month, and I took a few more weeks to see how we could discuss about this within the council. People's mental health and well-being are at stake, so it's not the same as running another corporate. This is actually about conversations and fostering healthy conversations. That is not happening. I've stated the numbers in my press statement. I've just mentioned it earlier in this interview. This is not the way to go. And I hope, Elon Musk, if you are seeing this and reading about this piece of news, please change the way of the discourse of how this is happening. Let the council do its work.
Irliani, it's not just you who are resigning. As I mentioned, there's a bunch of celebrities and people generally I see on my feed, people who are saying, that's it, goodbye. But also Elton John and Whoopi Goldberg and, some others, Gigi Hadid, of course, people that have a lot of leverage on the platform just because of their large following. Do you think that would make a difference?
Definitely. I think the exodus would actually prompt, hopefully, Musk. He does look at these things. He does look at what celebrities are saying and tweeting. And I hope that this would, again, like I said, but I don't know. I honestly feel that it's been falling on deaf ears. We have not been consulted on new product launches. This is not the way content moderation is done. It's a very nuanced business. It's evidence-based. It's not as simple as it seems. And I think he was realizing that. But it really shouldn't just, shoot from the hip and go as you go. This is not the way to do it. People's mental health and safety are at stake. There's historically marginalized communities that could be targeted. We need to prevent all of that, and we need to continue the work that the council has been doing and should be doing.
Irliani Abdul Rahman, Executive Director of the non-for-profit Yakin, which seeks to help child victims and adult survivors of child sexual abuse. Thank you very much for being with us and for sharing your decision to resign from the Twitter Council. Thank you very much. I hope we might see results. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.